Hi everybody, it's Amanda from Amandarosetarot, and we're here today to do another pick a card reading. So the question today is going to be, what do they regret? So you can think of a person, you can think of, a couple different people to figure out what did they regret, in the connection, in the relationship, in the situation. What were some of the things that they regretted, and we're also going to do advice. So the messenger card, the messenger oracle card is going to be the advice, and the other three cards, two cards from the Gypsy Fortune cards and one card from the Oceanic card, those are going to be what they actually do regret, and then advice for let's say them, advice for them, what they should do. Okay, so the first choice is going to be the crystal ball. So if you're drawn towards that, that is the first reading. The second reading is going to be the sea glass. And the third reading is going to be the orange stone. I will also do a yes, no for each pile, and I will pick some charms also for each pile. Okay, have you chosen? Well, let's look at the first pile. Okay, so if you chose the crystal ball, let's look. What do they actually regret? And then we will get advice. So the first card is the stork card. The second card is the rider card. And the third card is the Eight of Swords, and the keyword is restrictions or restriction. Okay. So what does this person regret? With the rider card, this person, they could regret that they didn't take that forward momentum that they should have in the situation. That they didn't overcome these obstacles, that they didn't have the strength that they needed to overcome. Also, they could regret that they didn't give you more positive praise. They didn't give you positive reinforcement. And that they weren't actually themselves. They weren't being their full self. They weren't showing you their full self, and so they weren't going after their goals. They weren't trying to, overcome obstacles in the situation. So they really do regret that. And then you got the stork card. So the stork is kind of going after what you want. So they could regret that they didn't go after whatever it was that they wanted. It could be you, it could be the relationship. Maybe they wanted to start this relationship and they didn't go after it, so they really regret that. It's also focusing on like the big picture rather than the small details. So maybe they were fixated on small things in this connection and they didn't really look at the big picture. Maybe they regret that they didn't have enough faith in the situation. Maybe there could be, the stork is also about pregnancy, so maybe they regret some sort of pregnancy, or that, they didn't have that growth with you, because it can be about growth in a situation. It could be that stealthy, undercover, because the stork kind of it sneaks up on its prey. It's very stealthy. So maybe they regret, maybe they were kind of watching you rather than acting on this. and they kind of regret doing that. So I feel like there's a lot that this person really regrets. And then we've got the Eight of Swords, and it's the key word is restrictions. So maybe they had these fears. You know, they didn't want to change things. They were stuck in a situation with you, and there was something that was holding them back, and they really regret. Maybe they were the one holding themselves back, and they really regret that they just didn't, you know, make this happen. So, you know, whatever these restrictions were, they kept you guys apart. Maybe they just had fears of this connection, so they didn't, you know, move forward. They didn't overcome obstacles. They didn't have the inner strength to make this work, you know, to start this relationship or start it back up. It could be for some people. So let's look at the advice for them. See the truth. Number 39. So this really says, don't be deceived. Use your intuition. See through the dark into the light. Hone your intuition. You guys also chose the crystal ball. So I think this person, they just, they didn't go with their intuition. They didn't do what their intuition was telling them to do. So really the advice to them is to just be aware of, you know, what's really going on. Be watchful, be mindful, you know, just see what's going on, you know, use your intuition. So this person, they didn't really do that. They felt like they were stuck. They weren't, you know, having enough strength to overcome obstacles. So let's do the yes, no if you chose this first reading. Okay, so you got no, so whatever you ask, the answer is no. Let's get some charms for you. Okay. So you got the penny, so maybe there's, you know, something that they want to offer you financially, or they regret that they didn't. You've also got the dime, so they feel like you're a 10, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like they think you're a 10. You also got the 5 pesos, so I still feel like they wanted to offer you something financially. With all of these coins, I think they regret that, but with the 5 pesos, maybe they wanted to get away with you somewhere, go on this vacation, maybe someplace warm, and they regret not doing that with you. You've got the seashell, so definitely they could regret not taking a vacation with you. You've got this eraser, so maybe they regret like that they didn't really try to erase the mistakes, you know, that they had done, or maybe they regret that they tried to erase this whole situation. You've got this purple stone, and purple is about spiritual power, the third eye, breaking bad habits, driving away the devil. So I think that this person regrets all of that, you know, they didn't break these bad habits that they had. You got the owl. The owl's about wisdom. It's about truth. It's about silence. So maybe some of those things they regret. Maybe they regret being silent with you. You've got this transparent glass bead. So maybe they regret that they weren't transparent with you. And blue is about forgiveness and truth. So maybe they regret that they weren't transparent. They didn't tell you the truth. They were silent. And this is also blue, so we've got more of that. White is about purity, peace. So I think, yeah, this person has a lot of regrets. You also have the butterfly, and the butterfly is about transformation. It's about resurrection. So maybe they regret that they didn't change some things. And then yellow is about the sun. It's about positive attitudes, memories. So some of those things are things that they regret with you. So hopefully this person can see the truth, because that is their advice, to see the truth, use their intuition. So hopefully that person is able to do that if you picked number 1. That's all I have for you. Okay, so if you chose number 2, the sea glass, let's look first at what do they regret, and then we'll do the advice. I'll also do a yes, no, and some charms. The first card that you got is the Bride. The second card that you got is the Lilies. And the third card that you got is the Seven of Cups. And the keyword down there is possibility. Okay. So first with the Seven of Cups here, I think this person, they regret that they were waiting so long. Maybe they were waiting to see what was going to manifest. They wanted to see what was real and what was not. So they stood back. They didn't really act on anything. They just kind of, you know, they were fantasizing. They were imagining, you know, the different choices that they had. And they just didn't act. So I think that they regret that they didn't go after this possibility sooner. And with the Lilies, I think this person regrets that they didn't have enough trust in the situation, that they kind of had this wait and type C attitude, and they didn't give this a chance. You know, they weren't trusting, you know, in their spiritual side, so they weren't spiritually connected. Maybe they wanted this new chance with you. They wanted another chance with you, and you know, they just didn't do that. They didn't complete it, and they didn't get the reward because they didn't take the chance. So they didn't get the reward. So I think they regret that they didn't. They were just waiting around. They were fantasizing, and they didn't really trust. They didn't, you know, believe in the higher spirits, and you know, they were just waiting to see what would manifest, and they didn't make any action towards you, and I think they really regret that. They wanted that newness, they wanted that purity, they wanted that innocence, and they had high standards, or you had high standards, and they just didn't go after it. They knew it was a possibility, but maybe they didn't have faith in it, in the situation, that things would actually work out. They weren't trusting their intuition, you know, their higher self. They just had no hope, is what I feel like, in this situation. So they were just waiting, you know, kind of to see what would happen. And then the Bride. So I think this person really regrets that they didn't propose to you, that they weren't more romantic, because I feel like they did want this wonderful marriage with you. And this bride here, she's reading a letter from her husband to be, and it's a letter that she's going to cherish. She's very happy in reading it. You can tell by the look on her face that she's very happy. She's grateful for these blessings. You know, true love is successful, and, you know, she's met her person. Also, there's this red rose there, And the red rose is about passionate love. So there's also passion in this, you know, romance, and it's success. So I think they regret that they didn't go after this possibility, and they had no trust in higher powers, and they just, you know, they could have had this wonderful marriage with you, and I feel like they were just fantasizing about it. They were just dreaming about it. They had this passion for you, but they were just waiting to see what would happen. So let's see what advice for them. Okay, card number 23, let the emotions flow. So this card really says that they really need to give themselves permission to feel emotions, and don't stuff them down, don't deny them, because that can lead to sickness. It can lead to disease if you aren't in touch with your emotions, you don't feel emotions. It's like this dam that's building up within you, and you need to release it. You need to release the floodgates of your emotions. Just understand that emotions, they're like a river. They're deep, they're strong, and it's natural. It's natural to have responses to situations that you find yourself in. So don't hold back emotions. Just know that they're natural. And so this person has to admit that they really do have feelings, and to just let them go, because they're building this dam up within them, and it's not healthy. So let's do the yes no for pile 2, the sea glass. Okay, so we got no. So whatever you ask, the answer is no for right now. Things can change, but it's no for right now. So let's get some charms. Okay, I want a little more than that. Okay. All right, so we've got this marble with the confetti in it. So I think they regret that there was no celebration. There was, you know, things didn't progress. They kind of let it go. And with the crocodile here, I think they regret that they were so, you know, hard-headed, and they didn't, you know, they didn't show you that, you know, that softer side of them. I feel like they know that you're their soulmate, so they kind of have a lot of regrets of the things that they didn't do. And with this little fairy, I think they see you as very cute, as very childlike, you know, magical being. And so they really do regret, because they know you're their soulmate. They regret just not taking action, not celebrating, because they see you as a 10. We've got the dime, so they see you as a 10. And so they really regret. Oh, you guys have the pink rose. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of twisted here. It's very pretty. So the pink rose is about romance. It's about love. So you've got 2 roses here. So they really regret not being more romantic, being more loving. We've got this granite. So that's about, you know, material that's very, very hard. So maybe they regret that they were so hard. They really didn't, you know, show you enough emotions. They were so hard. They see you as very elegant, very pure. Maybe they regret, you know, not healing this connection. This is also, I think this is, I don't know what color this is. It's kind of white. So more white here. And then you've got this green stone. So green is about nature. It's about growth. It's about luck, plants, trees, jealousy. Maybe they regret being jealous and not going after this. And then you've got the dancing shoes. So I think they regret not taking you out, showing you a good time. Yeah, this person has a lot of regrets. So hopefully they can learn to let their emotions flow, because that's their advice. So hopefully this person does learn how to do that. So that's all I have for you, number 2. Hopefully you like that reading. Okay, so last but not least, the orange stone. So let's see first, what does this person regret? Okay, we've got the cats. We've got the swords. And we've got the 4 of wands, and the keyword is reward. Okay, so first with the 4 of wands, this person regrets that they didn't achieve a goal that they wanted. They regret that they didn't, they weren't open, that they weren't carefree, that they didn't have this joy, this celebration in life. They regret that they didn't complete a project, pass a test, or they regret that they didn't bring this contentment to themselves. So I think they really regret that they didn't, show you love. They weren't free to be open and show you their love. They weren't carefree. They just didn't go with what made them happy. They didn't reward themselves. They didn't reward you. They didn't, they just weren't carefree. They were just too cautious. And then you've got the cat. So the cat's about sacrificing yourself, nurturing yourself and others, making a sacrifice to survive, because cats have 9 lives, so they sacrifice a lot. So maybe they regret that they didn't do that. It's also about maternal, motherly type energy, so nurturing type energy. So maybe they regret that they weren't more nurturing in this connection. They didn't sacrifice themselves to, give more. They really just weren't nurturing to either themselves or you. And then we've got the swords. Excuse me. The sword, so it says, maybe this person, they were hiding, because you see these 2 men, I don't know, can you see the 2 men hiding in the bushes there? They're about to attack on this road. So they're waiting for someone to pass by so that they can jump out and ambush them. So maybe this person, they were kind of hiding. They, they were lying in wait, and maybe they wanted to just hide in the bushes, and they weren't being upstanding, they weren't being truthful, they weren't being fair, they weren't being ethical or honest, or their honor is definitely in question with them hiding. Maybe they were being immoral in a way, dishonest, maybe telling lies. They weren't having, good integrity, like they couldn't be proud of themselves for what they were doing. Something they were doing wasn't good. It was hiding, it was lying. So I think this person, they weren't using their intelligence to do what they really should be doing. So they didn't do what was appropriate, is what I'm thinking. So that's their biggest regret. They didn't do what was appropriate. So let's see what their advice is. Know your fears. Number 20. So this person, they have a lot of fears. It says, everybody has fears, big and small fears. And so some fears are good. Some fears we have for good reason. They keep us cautious. They keep us from taking these life-threatening risks. But other fears are you know, they don't have a really good reason. So I think this person, they have a lot of fear of success. They question everything. They question their judgment, and it really limits them in really living their life. So this person, they have fears that really they shouldn't. They have these fears that keep them back, that make them hide, and I think they need to know that that's unhealthy. That's their advice, to shine a light on these shadows that represent their fears, and really look at them and know that they have fears that really don't make sense. So that's all I have. So let's do the yes, no. Okay, so you got yes. So whatever you ask, number 3, the answer is yes. Let's get some charms. Okay, so we've got this heart with a hole in it. So maybe this person, maybe they really hurt without you. They feel like they've got this hole in their heart, and it's really painful for them. And I think they just, they wish that they didn't, you know, walk away or hide. You've got this, this protection badge here. So I think they feel like they should have been more protective, especially with the cats. Like, I feel like they wanted to nurture you. They wanted to protect you, and they didn't do that. I feel like they really regret not doing that. The barrette. So I think that they regret not going after you because they saw you as very beautiful. They loved, you know, the way you did your hair. They just thought you were very beautiful. They saw you as this star. You know, they saw you as this shining star. You have so much light. You just have this aura about you that shines. And I think they regret, you know, that they didn't go towards their, you know, destiny, so to speak. With the white again, in this earring. So this earring I see as very elegant. So they see you as very elegant, very cute with the barrette. So they really regret that, you know, they didn't go after you, and they now have this hole in their heart. Maybe they were like the alligator. They weren't vulnerable with you. They were very hard, thick-skinned. And they weren't transparent with you, because this is the transparent bead. Also, you've got orange twice, because this is orange and you chose the orange stone. And orange is about creativity. It's about justice. It's about joy. It's about ambition, opportunity, celebration. So they regret that they didn't, you know, go after you, celebrate this connection. And the butterfly again, so like transformation, resurrection. They didn't, you know, transform. They didn't change. Although they knew that they weren't doing honorable things, they still did them. Okay, well, that's really all I have for you. I can't elaborate, but yeah, this person does have a lot of regrets. So hopefully they can just learn that, you know, these fears they really shouldn't have these little fears that they have. They really need to let go of that. So that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell if you do subscribe, so that you'll get notified of all of my readings. And if you would like a personal reading, then definitely shoot me an email. It's Amandarosetarot@hotmail.com. So thank you, love and light. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.